What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in. Welcome back to the channel of the Part-Time Expat. It's been just over 4 months now since we made the move to Da Nang, and I wanted to take you through some of the cost of living journey that we went through and what we've learned, how our spending has evolved, and what daily life looks like now as expats embracing a more practical, comfortable lifestyle by the beach. Now, initially we landed in March 13th in Ho Chi Minh City, and then a week later made our way up to Da Nang. So our total spend for the month of March, that was about, March 13th to the 31st, was $3,365. And I'll put those figures up on the screen. We were still finding our footing, sampling different neighborhoods and short-term rentals. That was kind of stressful. And that figure includes temporary accommodations, initial setup costs, and lots of little settling in purchases anytime you get a new place. For example, our first big shop in the apartment was for the basics, like the apartment we got was furnished, but there was no utensils, there was no pots, pans, so we had to get some of those things. Didn't want to go overboard. We found our long-term apartment in April, and we signed a 3-month lease and was for $385 a month, and you can watch that video here. But with utilities and other building fees, the total cost of the accommodations came out to be about $600 a month. We were spending a lot on our electricity because we were cooking home more, and we had the AC on, and our building was kind of facing northwest, so we got the afternoon sun. That plus cooking more at home, since we were in the Cam Le district, which is more locals than expats. There wasn't a whole lot of food options except strictly Vietnamese food, which is great, but can't eat that all the time, so we needed some variety, and my wife ended up cooking more stuff at home. But like I said, that was a 3-month lease, and our total spend for the month of April was $4,075, so it bumped up a lot from March. We went to Nha Trang for a weekend, and we went to different attractions. We spent some money doing those things. We weren't trying to deprive ourselves because we're here for a reason, to live a fuller and richer life. Now, in May, our total spend came down to $2,230. We started living like locals, eating out in neighborhood spots, less sightseeing and more at-home day. Living like we were in America. We're pretty much homebodies. I'm 60 years old, my wife's 50, so we're not, going out in the town, going to bars and going to clubs. The beach life is good for us. And even that, we were going like maybe once a week. So we wanted to go to the beach more often, so that was in our plans long term, to find a different lifestyle so we can be at the beach a little bit more often, maybe 2 to 3 times a week. But some of the costs, our local meals average between $2 and $3 per person. Groceries are far lower than back home. Now, in June, we really established a baseline. So I want to let you know that it'll cost you about $1,900 to $2,000 for 2 people to live comfortably in Da Nang, Vietnam. $1,000 a month is possible. Yeah, it is. Single person, $1,000. 2 people, $2,000. Single person, you still have to rent an apartment, so you need a studio, because it's just you. So your expenses there are going to come down. But your day-to-day expenses, eating, transportation, seeing sights and doing things, adventuring off, that's all going to be controllable to a large degree. But so I just want to convey to you, as you're listening to this, that $1,900 to $2,000 a month is comfortable, very comfortable. We were not, holding back on any expenses. We were not looking at a budget. We were just going about life. So it was our normal month, no travel, no big ticket purchases, and this gave me a realistic monthly baseline for 2 retirees living comfortably, not extravagantly. Utilities became a bit more predictable. We still were paying the highest utility bills in the apartment complex, to the extent that we were paying what people were getting paid per month. That was our monthly utility bill, was their salaries each month. They were shocked. In July, we moved from our Cam Le apartment, which the lease expired in mid-July. And so when it expired, the contract expired, we decided that it was time to, make a change. We felt isolated. It's nice to be in that local neighborhood and living amongst local. My wife really thrived there because a lot of people, she could chit-chat with everybody around the neighborhood. I was doing okay, I handled it, but it's boring. So I wanted to get to a more, expat area, closer to the beach. So we made the move and we relocated to the expat favorite area of My An, and specifically in the An Thuong district. and that's where we are. We found an apartment. We loved it because, first of all, take a look at the windows here. So I got windows here on this side, and I got windows in front of me. So you get cross ventilation, but also you get a ton of natural light coming into this specific room and the apartment in general. So that's what attracted us to this place almost immediately. Now, there was crappy furniture, outdated stuff. Have the landlord take some of this old furniture away, and we'll refurnish it with our style. And when we came into the apartment, basically you walk in, that's the kitchen. It's a very tiny kitchen. And I'll go over the kitchen deficiencies, which leads us to eating out more. Okay, but eating out more is not a problem because, you know, we can eat for $1 a meal to $10 a meal. But a lot of times we're eating for $1 to $2 per meal here in the An Thuong district. And we're satisfied. When you come into the apartment, you walk right into the kitchen. Straight ahead is a full-size balcony, which is open air, which is much better than our previous place. Because the other place, we had a balcony, but it was like a hot box. This new balcony, lots of airflow coming in, which we love. My wife smokes in the morning, has her cup of coffee, perfect for her. But when you come in to the kitchen area, as you enter, bedroom to the right, bedroom to the left. 2 bedroom, 2 bath. Very nice. 2 of us, we don't need 2 bedrooms. So we decided to make bedroom to the right, the master bedroom, has a connected bathroom, which we don't actually use. We use that as storage for clothes, we dry stuff in there. Bedroom to the left was larger, so we made the left bedroom a living room, lounge area, office area. We spend most of our time in this room when we're at home. So it works out very well. And you can see right behind me, we have the, take a little bit right behind me, I got the sectional couch that we purchased. Then we got the recliner, and then you can see that lamp in the background. That's all nice. So that's what we did to make this place our place. So we signed a 6-month lease, and it's at 14 million Vietnamese dong per month, which is $535 a month, plus utilities. We figure utilities, maybe $100 a month. We'll find out. Haven't gone through a full month yet. Furnishings, like I said, we added the sectional couch, recliner, and 2 custom lamps. That lamp that I just showed you back in the States, that's going to be about $300. But here it was that lamp and a smaller table lamp, $50. I mean, $53 is what it cost us total. So we're thinking that it's going to kind of equal out to what we were paying in Cam Le. It'll be about the same here, but we got more variety to our life being here. My Vietnamese class is 100 yards from my apartment. I can go down and get coffee for 17K, which is what, 75 cents for a cup of coffee, Cafe Suda. One thing we did do once we got here, even though internet Wi-Fi is free, there's an old saying in Vietnam, free not good, good not free. And that is certainly the case when it comes to Wi-Fi. Yes, you can get access to Wi-Fi. 5G is everywhere here in Vietnam. Very advanced, far more advanced than it is in the States. However, I wanted a dedicated internet line. So we contacted Viettel, which is one of the Vietnamese telecom companies. There's, I think, 3 or 4 providers that you could go through. We started with Viettel, and they brought a dedicated internet line into our space. We pay $11 a month, and we get mind-blowing speeds. I'm getting 1.1 gigabytes download, 760 megabytes upload with 22 milliseconds of latency. It's the best I've ever had anywhere, and the cheapest. $11 for that. Now, as far as transportation goes, we walk almost everywhere now because everything's so close by. Laundry, close by. Food, restaurants, bars, close by. The beach, literally a 7-minute walk away from our apartment. Very convenient. And you could rent a cabana, not a cabana, you can rent a beach lounge chair underneath an umbrella for $3 to $4 for the entire day. Order drinks if you want, water, soft drinks, juice, of course, alcohol. And the only alcohol I buy when I'm on the beach is in the can or in the bottle. I'm just doing cold beers in the can or the bottle. Now, we're walking a whole lot more, for sure. So we're getting a whole lot more exercise in, easily putting in 7,000 steps a day. And in this hot, humid weather. So, you know, it's helping. But it's just kind of like offsetting the amount of the calories we're taking in. So we need to watch that because I am putting on a little bit of weight. I need to watch that. And so our Grab rides have gone down dramatically. The only time we're taking grab rides is if we're looking for a specific item that we want to add to the home. Like, we got everything we need right now. This is really nice. And then we hire somebody separately to come in and do deep cleaning, because the person that comes in and does the cleaning for the building, essentially they're just doing a really surface cleaning effort, and they're checking on the space to report back to the owners, making sure we're not screwing up the place. But we will have somebody come in twice a month as well, separately, for very low cost. I think they're charging us 70,000 an hour, 70,000 Vietnamese dong. So, $3 an hour. It should take 2 hours max to clean the place from top to bottom, detail it, toilets, bathrooms, shower, vacuum, mop, everything. We're cutting down on Grab. We're walking a lot more, and I think it's going to be cancel everything out. So our total expenses, I really believe it's going to be around that $2,000 a month. So some of the takeaways: we live simply but not frugally. Good food, good people, great company. We live in a lively neighborhood right by the ocean. Now, there's a myth about living like a king in Southeast Asia. Honestly, that's unrealistic and unnecessary. We enjoy life to the fullest without stress or excess, and that just feels right. That's the right balance for us. My wife and I were talking earlier this morning. Said the only thing that we would add that would change things for us is accommodations. Maybe we spend a little bit more money on a better apartment or a bigger space. That would be the only thing. So we go from $500-600 a month to maybe $1,000 a month on your accommodations. Would be outrageous. I mean, you have everything you need. As far as food goes, it wouldn't change anything. That's not going to change our quality of life, because the food choices are the same. We'd have $1 meal, be very satisfied, to a $10 meal, be very satisfied, to a $50 meal for a date night, be extremely satisfied. But we wouldn't do that $50 meal or $100 meal every night. That's ridiculous. It's take too much time and effort to do that. So the only thing that would change our quality of life and that we would increase expenses on would be accommodations. And then maybe, more trips to different areas. And we will once we get things settled. So, those are some of the takeaways. First of all, I guess, what I want you to understand is that, there are some startup costs when you move to Vietnam or any location. If you move into the Philippines, if you move into Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, you're going to have to start up and pay for some expenses like your initial deposit, maybe your security deposit, which would be equal to first month's rent. You're going to also have to, possibly furnish things to your liking, or you can just live with what they give you. I want to make it my home, so I want to bring some things in that has our personal touch. And I think it's important that you do track your expenses. And we're very diligent. Every day we track expenses, and very accurately. So it's good for us to check in with each other, to keep each other in check, to see what are we spending on a day-to-day basis. So I have a spreadsheet, I put that together and I track that. That's how I got these numbers. So if you're considering a move abroad or just curious about what real expat living costs are like, our numbers reflect a comfortable, and I would say upper middle class lifestyle in Da Nang. We don't pinch pennies. We also don't splurge for the sake of it. We don't spend money on clothes. Like, I bought this hat for $4 at the Han Market. I bought a bucket hat for $4 at the Han Market. Just bargained it down a little bit, not a lot, okay? But, deals are to be made, and we don't buy a whole lot of clothes because, honestly, all you need are T-shirts and shorts if you're a guy. Lots of T-shirts, lots of shorts that are comfortable. And I'm like I said, I'm 60, so I'd highly recommend cargo shorts because you got pockets to hold all your crap. But like I said, we live well, we explore, we relax, we savor all the good things that this city has to offer. And I encourage you to look at Southeast Asia as a home base. And if you are Vietnamese, consider Vietnam, man. I see myself living here for the rest of my life. Honestly, good people, good country, good living. Aloha.